I was like a traditional kid, an IMG's family, where some relatives were doctors. So you also think that you will probably become a doctor, and your family also expects you to be a doctor or engineer, because if you are born in such a culture of South Asia, then you only have limited options. Your parents and families, they expect you to do well in career. So you have options of being a doctor or an engineer, or you do an MBA, or you become a chartered accountant. These are mainly four options.
Okay.
Any fifth option means you are a failure in life, culturally, and you are not successful. Why don't you read this book? Maybe you will have a different view of life. So I read that book. That changed my whole life. That one book changed my whole life, and I realized, okay, so I'm a mental health person. All day long means that whenever you're taking shower, you are sitting idle. Just, what are you thinking? Are you thinking about problems, or are you thinking about solutions? Think about the solutions, how you can be what you want to be. Think about that life, and then automatically your mind will also start to think of the solutions, how you can achieve that.
Yes.
So nothing will happen automatically. Your mind, when you think of the ideal life you want, your mind will now start to give you the other thought of solutions. How actually I can do that? How can I do that? What do I do? What action should I take? So you will see that you will automatically start to move in that direction. You will take actions that will make these things a reality. If you do not get visa, for example, complete your home country residency with US Embassy, now apply for other countries and see the magic. You will be surprised what your value is.
Dr. Hassaan Tohid identifies as a teacher. He's also a board-certified mental health counselor, public speaker, and researcher. In 2016, Dr. Tohid established the California Institute of Behavioral Neurosciences and Psychology, CIBNP, an online education platform that hundreds of IMGs like you have leveraged to learn the art of research and become published authors. In this episode, Dr. Tohid and I have a chat. He talks with us about his career in mental health, his experience in entrepreneurship as an IMG, and what we need to do, what you need to do on your match journey to achieve and grow success. Thank you again so much, Dr. Tohid, for being here today. I am so excited to get into our conversation about your entrepreneurial journey as an IMG yourself, as well as the services that you offer to international medical graduates.
I really appreciate it. It's my pleasure to be here. Thank you for inviting me over.
You are so welcome. So whenever we look up your bio, if we should Google Hassaan Tohid, we see so many descriptions. I see neuroscientist, medical professional, researcher, editor, author, public speaker. What do you identify with the most? Like if I asked you who is Dr. Hassaan Tohid, what would you say?
Teacher. In one word, if we combine all of them together, then I am a teacher who teaches and trains people for success.
Understood.
And that's how my motivational speaking comes into being. When I teach people about success and how to set their goals, how to set their lives, then people identify me as a motivational speaker. So I like that title as well. And when I deal with counseling sessions with my patients, the substance abuse clients, I will discuss that as well. That's my clinical side. So they refer me as a therapist, as a counselor. I like that as well. So actually, all of these, speaking as a public speaker or a motivational speaker, counseling or therapy, and coaching and training, all of them essentially come under one umbrella, and that is teaching.
Teaching.
So I would call myself a teacher in one word, if there is any.
Okay, thank you. And where in the world does your story begin?
Pakistan. I try not to mention the country usually when people ask me where I am from. I try to avoid this question because people have unconscious or subconscious biases against different countries. So I don't want anyone to think negative about me, because if they have negative view about Pakistan. So I tell everyone that, okay, yes, I am from Pakistan. If somebody asks me, I tell them. And I also tell them, for me, my students, it doesn't matter where they are from. For me, they all are equal. I love them equally. And it doesn't matter if a person is from Pakistan, Afghanistan, India, Bangladesh, Nepal, Middle East, anywhere in the world. I love them equally. In fact, I'm more closer to many of my students from India than Pakistan. And traditionally, India and Pakistan politically are considered rivals. But when you see my students, I love them. And we have people from India in our team. And I love them equally. And they are closer to me. Some are more closer to me than my Pakistani students. And because we clinicians all over the world are actually one nation. I believe we doctors, the clinicians, we are one nation with one purpose to help others, to save people's lives, to treat people, to treat patients. We are one mission, one goal. So we belong to one community of clinicians. So it doesn't matter where we come from.
And what brought you to the clinical space? How did you decide to become a doctor?
Yes. So I was like a traditional kid, an IMGs family where some relatives were doctors. So you also think that you will probably become a doctor, and your family also expects you to be a doctor or engineer. Because if you are born in such a culture of South Asia, then you only have limited options. Your parents and families, they expect you to do well in career. So you have options of being a doctor or an engineer, or you do an MBA, or you become a chartered accountant. These are mainly four options.
Okay.
Any fifth option means you are a failure in life, culturally, and you are not successful. And this is a usual perception. So I never thought that I would be anything different than these four. And that's how I just chose medicine, because that's what I thought as well as a kid, that, okay, if you want to be successful in life, you have to choose any of these specialties. And I joined medical field because I like my teacher of biology in my college time, the high school times. Oh, sorry, the school times, So we have to decide pre-medical or pre-engineering. In our education system out there, we have to decide whether you go for engineering, pre-engineering, or pre-medical. If you want to be a doctor, you join pre-medical. If you want to be an engineer, you join pre-engineering and you study mathematics. So I was not good at math. That was my weak point. And when the time came to decide the field in high school time, at the last moment, I just told my family that, okay, I know engineering is a good option. And traditionally, guys, they do engineering and girls do medicine. But I feel that I understood biology better. And I have seen a teacher who taught biology really well. So I think I like biology more. And although I'm not that of a good student, maybe my chances of getting into a medical school are minimal, but getting into an engineering university is almost zero with that kind of knowledge and passion for mathematics. So at the last moment, I just filled out my application that I will go into pre-medical. That's how accidentally I got into pre-med. And that turned out to be the right decision. I really performed well in biology subject. And then I got into medical school, and then my journey began. That's how it began. And I was not a good student. For everyone who is not a good student, I'm telling you guys, I was not a good student. I was a very bad student. I realized that, okay, I like biology, but when I joined medical school, I realized, oh, I made a mistake. I'm not born for medicine.
Were you partying when you should have been studying?
No, I was not a party person, but I was a sports person. Yeah, so I was wasting my time in sports, and too much of sports, cricket, too much of time. And I was also wasting too much of time in philosophy videos and lectures and religious videos and lectures. So a time came in my first year that I decided that I'll quit medical school and I will do masters in religious studies.
Okay.
But my uncle said, 1 year has already passed. Why don't you just push it 4 more years? And then if you have passion for religion and this philosophy thing, you can do that later after your MBBS is completed. But right now, just try to push. So I said, okay, I think he's right. There's no harm in trying to push. I can at least pass with bare minimum grades. I can at least become a doctor. And I pushed myself, and finally, I became a doctor. And I still feel it was an accident that I became a doctor. I was not meant to be a doctor, and my grades were very bad. If you ask any of my classmates, they will tell you I was not a sharp student in any of the medical subjects except pathology. I liked pathology and I really excelled in pathology, I remember. And then also medicine. In final year, when I did medicine one and medicine two, I did really well, surprisingly, and I liked it. And then I liked gynae and ops. So now my interest started to develop. I said, like, wow, I like these things. But, final year was over and finally I became a doctor with minimal grades. And I knew that my concepts are not that strong because I was not passionate about medicine. So what do I do now? I can't just pass USMLE right away like everyone else. So I started to work hard on the initial concepts that I missed. But it was so difficult for me in that to understand and to grasp the knowledge. So that's how my story is. And then finally, after reading and listening, my life was not on track and I didn't know what to do. I didn't have money for USMLEs. I was trying to study for it, but I didn't have money. I didn't know what to do. What will I do? So my aunt, she passed away. She brought a book to me once and she said, "Your uncle became successful reading such books. This is one of his books. Why don't you read this book? Maybe you will have a different view of life." So I read that book that changed my whole life. That one book changed my whole life. And I realized, okay, so I'm a mental health person. So the religious lectures that I enjoy, the religious books I enjoy reading, I like religion, but mostly I'm a person who deals with human behavior because I'm mostly studying human behavior. Why humans do this, why we do this, why do we that, XYZ. So I realized that, okay, so my passion for philosophy and religion, actually, they are related to psychology and human behavior. So I identified myself finally that, okay, this is what I am. I am a mental health person. So that means I was supposed to choose psychology instead of medical school, and I should have become a psychologist instead. But now who cares? I have finally become a doctor. So that means I can still be in the mental health field. Either I do residency and become a psychiatrist, or I can still pursue this mental health. And there are so many other options to join mental health field. But the good news was that I finally discovered myself. Self-discovery is the biggest challenge of life. Most of the people in the world never discover who they are.
Absolutely. This is true.
So now you haven't asked me what that book was.
Because I'm waiting. I didn't want to interrupt you. I was going
Okay,
to be my
thank you.
next question, but I didn't want to interrupt.
Okay. So everyone, please write it down. The author's name is Hiram Smith.
Yes.
Hyrum, I guess. Hiram, and Smith is Smith, Smith. Hiram Smith's book, 10 Successful Laws of Time and Life Management. 10 Successful Laws.
Yes.
So, being a student of philosophy and being a student of religion, I was so crazy about divine laws. I knew there are divine laws.
Yes.
Because we have laws of physics, laws of motion, laws of thermodynamics. I knew that. First law of motion, second law of motion, third law of motion. I knew that these laws are here, the physical laws, but similarly, we have religious laws as well, that if you do good, good will happen.
Yes.
Some people call that karma.
Karma.
Okay. So I knew that these laws exist, but I did not know that there are laws that are success related laws. And they apply to us, human beings, and anyone who follows those laws and principles is bound to be successful in life and career.
Okay, so I'm going to ask you. I will interrupt you then since you're open to interruption. Tell me your favorite law from the 10.
That's a very good question. We become what we think about all day long. This is a law that success psychologists will tell you. This is the most important principle and a hidden law of universe. I wish I knew that when I was 10, 12 years of age. But I found out in my early 20s, I was at 25. At age 25, I found out, okay, so that is the most important law, that we become what we think about all day long. So whatever I have today, all these accomplishments, everything, whether it's a TEDx talk, being on a stage of TEDx, and being a mental health clinician today, what I am, and being an entrepreneur, All of these things, I started to think about them, that I have those things already. I learned that this law of thinking and the law of visualization, they work together. That if you keep thinking that you have all of these things all day long, imagine as if you already have them. How will
Yeah.
your life be when you have those things?
Yes.
The law of attraction automatically starts working. Another law comes into action, and these things are attracted towards you.
I
It
absolutely believe that, and I lead my life accordingly as well. So I understand.
so everyone who is listening to me, I can tell you that my first batch of research training program, I told these students, there were 3 students, and I told them 3 things. The female student I had, she wanted to be a neurologist. And one student, he wanted to be a doctor of internal medicine. He wanted to be an internist. And the last one, he wanted to be a psychiatrist. So I told them the formula, the same formula, the law of success, that we become what we think about most of the time, or we become what we think about all day long. So if you want to be a neurologist, imagine, close your eyes, do this exercise every single day. Imagine you are working at a hospital in neurology and you are looking at neurology patients. You're walking and you're seeing the patients, taking history, and you are a neurologist. Just imagine, close your eyes and think about it every day. Do this exercise 5 minutes, 6 minutes, 10 minutes. The longer, the better. And the clearer, the better. Do that. And same with everyone. If you want to be a psychiatrist, I told this guy, you do that. And the guy who wanted to be an internist, I just told him, you do the same thing. So they all really liked the idea. The girl immediately, the same year, she matched in neurology. The guy matched in psychiatry. But the third one, he did not match in internal medicine, but he matched after 4 years in
Yeah.
internal medicine.
Yes.
Law never deceives you. The law of nature, they never deceive you. And the main law is the law of cause and effect. The iron law of universe is the law of cause and effect, that everything has a cause. Every reaction has a cause. And the biggest cause of success is our thought. So if you want to have a reaction, give the action. Action has a reaction. So your action should be your thoughts, how clear your thoughts are, what you think of, what you think about all day long. There was a study done at the University of Pennsylvania several years ago, and the researchers, they called successful people during their leisure time, and they used to ask them, what are you thinking right now in your leisure time? So the result of the study was that successful people, they think about their future, how their life will be.
Yes.
After they have accomplished their dreams, how their life will be.
Yes.
So that is the most important principle. And I always say this to anyone I meet with. And this is my mission for my kids, for my daughters. I have 3 daughters. So I have this mission for my daughters, that they learn this law right from the beginning of their life, that we become what we think about all day long.
Mm.
All day long means that whenever you're taking shower, you are sitting idle. Just what are you thinking? Are you thinking about problems? Or are you thinking about solutions? Think about the solutions, how you can be what you want to be. Think about that life, and then automatically your mind will also start to think of the solutions, how you can achieve that.
Yes.
So nothing will happen automatically. Your mind, when you think of the ideal life you want, your mind will now start to give you the other thought of solutions. How actually I can do that? How can I do that? What do I do? What action should I take? So you will see that you will automatically start to move in that direction. You will take actions that will make these things a reality.
Mhm. Yes.
So the book I read, everyone should read that book. It's mainly about time management, but I learned that, okay, there are laws of success. So then I became crazy of finding such books on
Mm.
personal development, self-help. So I recommend everyone get books on self-help. If you
Mm.
want to be successful in life, it doesn't matter what profession you come from, you should have books on self-help and personal development at your home. If you want to be good at time management, then get this book that I mentioned. This was the first book that taught me that, okay, there are laws of success and how to improve life. So that was the first book. But the real laws that you will find are in the book called Think and Grow Rich
Yes.
by Napoleon Hill.
Inhale.
Think and Grow Rich. Everyone should read that book. This book talks about 13 laws of success, how you can succeed in your life, starting with passion. You should have the burning desire, not just ordinary desire. You should have burning desire to be successful. So if you just want to be successful, you say, oh, yeah, I want to be successful. No, that's not going to give you success. You should have burning desire, a desire that doesn't let you sleep. That kind of desire.
Yes.
It keeps you motivated, energetic all the time. That kind of desire.
Yes.
So those are the principles that are discussed in that book. So get the books by Napoleon Hill. He has written multiple books. By the way, Think and Grow Rich was actually a thesis. He wrote this thesis by researching 500 successful people in this world, 100 years, almost 100 years ago. I think 1927 or 37. So 90 or 100 years ago, that book was written. And he interviewed 500 successful people. Actually, the story begins with Andrew Carnegie, one of the most richest or the successful people ever born. He hired Napoleon Hill to do research on his behalf. He wanted to hire a researcher. The advertisement he gave was, I'm looking for a researcher who can work unpaid and do this research for me, that how success is done. And I will pay for his travel to visit 500 richest people of the world and go and interview them. So he interviewed them, and he finally compiled these 13 principles that after interviewing successful people, I have found that these are the 13 properties of successful people. Anyone who adopts those principles is bound to be successful. So that's why it's very important to read that book. And also, everyone, read the books by Brian Tracy. Brian Tracy. That's my real, I would say, the mentor, because Brian Tracy is the person who's, I've never met with him, but I consider him as my mentor because I have read so many books by Brian Tracy and lectures and seminars and video lessons, audio lessons, always listening to Brian Tracy, even in my car while I'm driving. So that changed my life. So everyone, listen to Brian Tracy, follow his YouTube channel, and get the books by Brian Tracy, Eat That Frog, and so many other books. Eat That Frog is the most famous book. That's also about time management, though. Okay, and Goals, the book Goals. Okay, so all of those books, and Tony Robbins, follow him. Earl Nightingale, listen to these people. They are all available on YouTube. Success is available on YouTube if you're interested. That's what you need to do. So I became a lifelong student of success, and I got all the books on motivation, inspiration, and right now you guys cannot see me, but Madam Shauna can see me right now.
Yes.
Yeah, and behind me are my library books, but these are just one set of books. I have another library outside as well, outside this room. So I'm crazy about books, and I became a lifelong reader. I want everyone to be a lifelong reader. So you will know how success is done, how career is done. So the biggest formula I'm giving you is, if you want to be a resident in any specialty, start imagining, thinking about as if you're doing it right now, walking in the hospital. Imagine this and keep doing it in your thoughts. And then your mind will give you idea how to do it. And ask this question to yourself, how can I achieve this? Asking the right question is the key. Ask right question to yourself, how can I get into the residency match? Don't say, why can't I do that? That's a wrong question. When you ask the wrong question, your mind will give you a wrong answer.
Yes.
If you ask a wrong question, why can't I do that? The wrong answer will be because you don't deserve it. Because you are an IMG. You can't be successful because you're an IMG. You are getting the wrong answer because you asked the wrong question. You ask this question, how can I do that? How can I succeed despite being an IMG? Now the mind will give you solutions. Okay, improve, learn, read books, make connections with doctors. Okay, everyone remember, we become who we spend time with. Another principle I'm giving you, another law of success. We become who we spend time with. Our body weight, our bank account are the average of the 5 people we spend time with. Just remember that. Our body weight, our bank account, our lifestyle, everything that we do is an average of the 5 people we spend time with. So who are you spending time with? If you're spending time with losers, you will end up being a loser. If you're spending time with successful people, winners, you will end up being a winner. If you want to be a psychiatrist, you got to be spending time with psychiatrists. Make connections, do rotations, spend time with so many psychiatrists. You should have a friend circle of psychiatrists who are already psychiatrists. If you want to be an OBGYN doctor, a gynecologist, you should find people who are in OBGYN field and make friends and be friends with them. Find connections and be friends with them, do rotations, but be friends with them that even after rotation, you are sitting with them, you're communicating with them. Change your whole environment to OBGYN. Change your whole environment to psychiatry if you want to be a psychiatrist. If like I wanted to be a person of mental health in neuroscience, a neuroscientist. You see, I have a brain models right behind me. You guys cannot see it, but right now there is a brain model. So my whole life, my cell phone desktop is a brain picture. Everywhere I had brain. When I decided I want to be somebody in the field of mental health, I changed my whole environment to mental health. I made connections with psychiatrists. I made connections with neurologists. I made connections with neuroscientists. I made connections with psychologists. I made connections with mental health clinicians, counselors, therapists. And I became friends with them. I started spending time with them. Subconsciously, not only I acquired the skills that they had, the personality traits they had, but I also learned so many things from them. There are so many things you cannot learn from the books. You learn from the people.
Right.
Find people of the field you want to be in.
And speaking of the field that you want to be in, why did you get into mental health care and especially around addiction counseling,
Mm,
substance use disorder counseling?
that's a very good question. So just because of identifying myself after graduation, when I recognized who I am, I'm a person of mental health. I love mental health field. So I said, okay, so mental health. So anything in mental health, I will do it. And I wanted to do something to change my life, change my career. So I first started to find jobs in psychiatry, in research. Now, remember, guys, I don't have a job right now, right? At that stage, I did not have a job. I'm looking for my first position, first job as a researcher in psychiatry so that I can start somewhere. And finally, after sending hundreds of emails, I got an unpaid job in psychiatry research
Mm-hmm.
at the UC Davis, unpaid as a volunteer. And I immediately accepted it. Now, the challenge was, how do I take care of myself? How do I do it? So I worked at a store to take care of my finances. I was working at a pretzel store. I have worked at Starbucks as well, guys. I worked at Starbucks. I have worked at a pretzel store. I have done so many things you cannot even imagine. Okay. So to look after myself financially, I was working at a store, but for volunteer research, I was going to the
UC
lab.
Davis.
Yes, to the UC Davis lab. And I was learning from the professor out there and the people out there. And now my environment started to change that. Okay, now I'm living in the environment of mental health clinicians and seeing every day the name UC Davis, the hospital, medical center. Now it gives me motivation to do more. And I started to do the same thing, finding jobs. And I found my mentor at the UCSF, who is a dermatologist actually,
Okay.
who is a dermatologist, but he gave me a kind of a task to work with him as a volunteer. So I got another volunteer position and I happily accepted because this dermatology professor was a well known professor. So I accepted that and I learned success from him. So many things that how you succeed in academic life. And now, gradually, my life started to become better and better. And now I wanted to find a paid job because working at a store was not sufficient. So I wanted to find a job. So I started to apply for jobs. I took out my CV. Now I had two things on my CV after my MBBS degree: volunteer positions, two volunteer positions, working with two professors. So I had something now to show on my CV. Now I knew I am going to find a job sooner or later.
Yes.
So I started to apply for jobs at medical offices nearby. I applied to every single medical office I could find, hospital nearby, everywhere. And there was this last dental office left. And I was like, this is a dental office. I have already applied to dental offices. And even if he hires me, it's not going to benefit me. But this is the last office left, healthcare related, last office left in this city. So let's do that. Let's go there and give him my CV too. I have gotten rejections. If he rejects me, I will go to the next city, next town. So I went to his office and there was a front desk woman, and there were two women actually there. Yeah. And they said, okay, please drop your CV. The doctor is right now doing surgery. So when he's free, he will give you a call back. So if he's looking for somebody, I said, okay, sure. I did not get a response from him, but the same night around 8 p.m., I got a call from him and he said, thank you for coming. Thank you for coming. You left your CV here today and I really appreciate it. I do have a position as a front desk person, but I saw your CV. You are a qualified medical physician from another country and you have research background as well. So I recommend you don't work for me, but I will talk to one of my friends who is running a company, a healthcare company. And that's a big company. So I can refer you to that company. I said, sure. So he referred me to that company. And next day I got a phone call from the CEO. And he said that my friend dentist, he talked to me about you and we would like to interview you. So I said, thank you. Thank you for giving me this opportunity. I was like, wow, that's how connections help.
Yes.
So they called me in a week. They gave me an interview date and they called me for an interview. They were looking for a front desk assistant, somebody like that. I went to that interview initially. And while their interviewing team was conducting my interview, they talked to me and they saw that, okay, no, he's more qualified than that.
Yes.
So the interviewer, she went to another room. She came back. She said, I talked to our CFO and she said that we should not interview for this position, but we should interview you for intake manager position. I was like, wow, I came for an assistant position, but now they are considering me for management position. That's wonderful. So then they called me for another interview. And now this time the interview was with the CEO, the same CEO, and his partner, his business partner. So now both of them had an interview session with me and that lasted for an hour or so. Then I left. Now I'm waiting for a call from them.
A quick pause to thank our sponsor, the IMG Residency Match Application Accelerator. The IMG Residency Match Application Accelerator helps international medical graduates like you create a memorable application to match. Learn more at bit.ly/IMG match. Now back to the conversation.
So what happens was that the company now contacted me and I exactly don't remember who. I think the CEO again. Yeah. He contacted me and he said, we interviewed you and we really like you. And we now feel that this intake management position is not for you. And I was like, oh, that's sad. But let's see what do they have for me. He said, I'm starting a research department. Would you like to join our research department?
Wow.
And I said, okay, you are starting it. So who's going to lead that? He said, you're going to lead that. I was like, wow, that's something, that's something awesome. So that's how I started my research career. Now that was my full first real job.
Wow.
Yeah. And by the way, I was the only one. I mean, by leading, I realized, okay, I was the only one who was leading that research department. There was nobody there. But gradually they hired later, they hired another person later. But, it was a great job. It was a great experience, great job. I learned research and I grew on that job for the next 4 years. But then one day that company did not have enough finances to continue my job.
Yes.
And then they let me go.
Yes.
And now, when they let me go, I was in a position that now what to do. So I did Uber for a month until I found a job. So that's my story that nobody knows because I did not have enough money. And by the way, I started this CIBNP research program at that time. I started that, but we were in our first year.
You have to tell us what CIBNP means.
I will definitely. California Institute of Behavioral Neurosciences and Psychology. I started that a year ago in my last year at that company. I already started my classes. I was teaching, but I wasn't expecting that my job will be finished. Now my job is finished, and this CIBNP is not that of a big organization at that time. I used to get very few students at that time, and I was the only one who was the marketing person, who was the management person, who was the teacher, everything along with my wife.
All the hats.
Yeah. So me and my wife, we were looking at the initial stuff. So my wife took all the administration stuff. I took the teaching part. and I'm doing Uber. Classes are running. That job is lost. Now I'm looking for another job. So my wife was applying for jobs for me. So she said, I will apply to all the mental health positions for you. Since you are busy in the classes and Uber, I will apply all the jobs for you. So she applied to all the positions, and I got an interview from a substance abuse facility.
Mm-hmm.
That's how I got into substance abuse.
Mm-hmm.
That answers your question why I chose substance abuse. Because my field was mental health, I wanted to join any of the mental health field as an assistant therapist. Luckily, I got a call from this organization. So now I started my career. Finally, this job began in 2 months. So I just did Uber for those 2 months. But now I started my job as an assistant therapist, and I learned therapy out there. And that job also helped me complete the clinical requirement of 2,000 to 3,000 hours
Yes.
for counseling board.
Yes.
And I enrolled myself in a school for therapy. Okay. And that's how it happened. I completed the hours, the school requirement online, and I completed the clinical hours. Then I was qualified to take the board exam.
Okay.
Then finally, I took the board exam, but I quit that company on my own because then CIBNP started to flourish. When CIBNP started to grow, then I quit that job. And now I'm full time committed to CIBNP and the students and teaching. And I still have my therapy credentials. I'm board certified substance abuse therapist, counselor. So I have the clients. I see the patients sometimes, not all the time. Like currently, for example, I don't have any patient. But if a patient comes in, I will happily see the patient. I do the counseling. So I do that as a passion, just for the love. But my real full time thing is the CIBNP, and we look at the students and we run the organization. So that's my story. So I am a clinician too, but most of the time I'm a teacher.
Yes. And who is the kind of student who should reach out to CIBNP? What are they going to get when they reach out to you and interact with you, take a course at the institute? Do they reach out when they're in medical school as an IMG? Do they reach out while they're preparing for their steps?
Somebody like me who is an IMG, who is struggling in his life, doesn't know what to do, where to move ahead in career. So let me tell you guys, I did not know research at all when I started my position as a researcher. I learned everything from my mentors. And whatever I learned, the writing, the research methodology, everything. And what happened was I started to get calls from the students, medical students and doctors, IMGs, to seek help for research. So I said, okay, why not we just start this organization and start teaching? So that's how CIBNP was developed. That's how it came into being. So that's the story of CIBNP. That's how we started. And we started to teach whatever I learned. So somebody who does not know research, who is an IMG, who wants to flourish in their career, wants to apply for residency match, or wants to establish career in any way. Because you have multiple pathways, guys. You have residency pathway, you have non-residency pathway, you have a fellowship pathway before residency. Multiple options, multiple pathways. You can be a teacher. You can be somebody like me, a teacher. You can be an entrepreneur. You can start any other company, any other business as well. You can be a therapist like me, and you can be a teacher, and you can be a businessman, and you have so many options. Your life is not over yet. Just remember that. Being an IMG does not mean that your life is over. You just remember, if you're willing to work hard, you will make your way. You will find your way. Just be willing to work hard, set goals, set goals, set goals. I'll say that again. Set goals. You should start to write goals down. Write down your goals, set goals.
Mhm. And how do match applicants make the most of their time in CIBNP? So let's say someone's going into the match for psychiatry, they want to go into a residency or internal medicine. They Google you or they listen to this podcast and they decide to find you on
Yes. Yeah.
social media.
CIBNP.com, and CIBNP.com is our website. You can go there, or you just contact me directly. I can mention my phone number. Is mentioning the WhatsApp number allowed here on this
Sure,
podcast?
you can go ahead and do that.
Okay, it's 707-999-1268. 707-999-1268. That's my phone number. You can contact me with a text message or WhatsApp at this number if you're interested in joining our research classes and you want to excel in research and develop your career as a researcher. So the benefit of joining research program is that you learn research. You can be a researcher in the future. You can be a teacher. You can apply for lecturer positions and you can be a professor. And you can also apply for residency match. You become more competitive if you have research background. And on top of that, if you add some publications, because our students, they learn research, but they also work on a real project and then they submit it for publication to a journal. So you may get publications too. And that's how the program is. And there are multiple benefits that you can join multiple options, multiple careers. Like you can be in a hospital as an administrative assistant, or you can join a healthcare company like I did. And maybe a new career is waiting for you. And you can start your career like that. And you can work at a rehab center. You can become a therapist. And you can still be a clinician. Remember that. You can be an IMG and you can be a clinician without USMLEs and without residency. There are multiple ways. You can be a psychologist. You can be an occupational therapist. You can be a physical therapist. You can be a respiratory therapist. You can be a mental health therapist. You can be a substance abuse therapist. You can be a nurse. Nurse can be of different kinds, LVN, RN. There are multiple options. So remember that all of these options are for you. Your life has just begun. And if you join our program, you increase your chances to get different kinds of job opportunities, not in just research, but in administration, in healthcare companies, in pharmaceutical companies, as a researcher, as a research associate, research assistant, research fellow. All of those options are there. But this is a starting journey, remember. If you initially start as a researcher or you work as an assistant administrator or anything at any rehab center or drug addiction facility anywhere, remember that's just the beginning. And this is your first pathway, and you're moving ahead towards a bigger career. Then get the board certification and then take your SMLEs if you want to do that, complete that, or start your company. But keep moving forward, keep growing, keep becoming bigger and bigger and better and better. And you will be astonished what you become. Like, guys, for example, as an IMG, I started my career as an IMG, but now I am a businessman. I am a board certified therapist. Okay. California board certified substance abuse counselor. And I also am known as a speaker. I have been on TED Talks, TEDx, 4 TEDx talks. I have delivered those talks on neuroscience. So now the world also recognizes me as a neuroscientist. I'm a senior editor of 4 books by Springer Publisher. So all of this success keeps coming to me because I never stopped. I set goals and I keep moving forward and I keep thinking about the future and success even today. I still feel that this is just a beginning. I'm moving ahead. I'm moving forward in my life. I'm moving forward in my career. I have a bigger purpose. I have a bigger purpose to serve as many people as possible, as many students as possible, and change millions of lives with my message, with my videos, with my talks, to change millions of lives. And I have been successful in many ways because my videos have been watched by so many people. And through this podcast as well, my message will be given to so many people. So that's what I want everyone to do. Don't just be complacent with one success. Keep moving forward from one success to another. One success to another. When you become a resident, now don't just stop. Think of a fellow, that you can be a fellow. You start with fellowship. Then what else you can do? Can you be a faculty at a university? Can you be an assistant professor, associate professor? Can you one day become a dean at a university? Think of the bigger goals. Think big. Don't think small. Why can't you, the one who is listening to me, I'm talking to you right now, just one person, listen to me right now. Why can't you be a dean of a university like Harvard? Why can't you be? Why can't you be the person? Why can't you be a dean of a university like UCSF? You know, UCSF Medical School, I guess they had a dean who was an IMG from Australia. So he did not think that, oh, I am an IMG, I cannot be successful in this country. He had bigger goals, he had bigger dreams. He wanted to impact more lives because the bigger you are, the more successful you are, you can help and serve more people. Your message is heard by more people. Being a physician, if you become a world-renowned physician, your message and your skills can help more people. Just remember that. Because let's say you have become now a greatest surgeon in the world. Now you will be helping and teaching many other people, and in conferences and through videos or through interviews or podcasts like these, any message can change so many surgeons' lives, so many doctors' lives. So your influence and your success actually gives you more people to give the message and serve. Right now, for example, if I were not this kind of successful person, I would not have been invited at this podcast and you guys would not have been listening to me. So our reach becomes bigger, our message becomes bigger when we become bigger and successful. So keep becoming bigger, keep becoming successful, keep learning, keep growing, and always be bigger than your job. This is the message I'm giving you. Be too big for your job so that you are attracted to a better opportunity. That's how you become successful. And keep reminding to yourself that it is possible. Success is possible. Nobody can stop me. I will be successful one day. Keep reminding yourself. That's how you become successful.
And I know a lot of IMGs have, lots of visa considerations. So for instance, when you mention, hey, you can go in the match, you don't have to go in the match. For an IMG who is going into the match because they're keen on going through a J1 visa process or an H1B visa process, you also don't feel like they have to think of the match as their only option?
Yes. That's why I always tell the people and the students that please be a lifelong reader of the books on self help and success so that your eyes are open and you see other options. Remember, if you don't have visa and US visa is not given to you and you have passed USMLEs already, USMLE is accepted and recognized by several countries in the world. You can be a physician in many other countries. Let me name some countries, starting with Jamaica. Jamaica accepts USMLEs. Canada accepts USMLEs in two provinces, British Columbia and Ontario. They accept USMLEs. Do you know that? Ireland accepts USMLEs. Did you know that? And other European countries would also have a pathway to accept USMLEs if you have done residency in home country. And then Middle Eastern countries, UAE, Qatar, Bahrain, Kuwait, and Lebanon and Oman, all of these, they accept USMLEs. Do you know that? South Korea can recognize USMLEs. China can recognize USMLEs, but China, Germany, and South Korea, they will need language. Okay, but they recognize USMLEs. Okay, and what else? Which other country can recognize USMLEs? Do you know Australia does it too? Do you know New Zealand also recognizes USMLEs? You just have to take their step 3, New Zealand step 3. Other than that, other than the steps. So there are multiple options, and possibly there are other countries in Europe that I have not mentioned. So go and do your research. You will be surprised that so many countries accept, recognize USMLEs, but your chances will be more if you complete your home country residency. So if you do not get visa, for example, complete your home country residency with USMLE. Now apply for other countries and see the magic. You will be surprised what your value is. Work hard on yourself. Work hard on yourself. Make your CV better. Keep improving and learn the communication skills, the way you talk, the way you listen, reading, writing, listening, speaking. There are 4 components of communication. You should work on all those components. Read books on public speaking, read books on communication, read books on listening, and watch videos on listening skills. Improve your listening skills. Get books on communication. Listening alone will probably be difficult to find a book on that subject, but communication in general, you can find so many books. How to be a good communicator. There are so many books. Listen to people like Brian Tracy, as I mentioned. So your personality plus your CV will make a lethal combination. Nobody can stop you from becoming successful. So that in case you don't get visa, you have these options.
Mhm. And could you tell us about one of your favorite success stories from CIBNP in terms of a student applying for a competitive specialty, and you feel as if the research that they were able to do helped a lot in their match?
Yes. We have a student, Dr. Ian, and we have a student, Dr. Bilal. So Dr. Bilal is a highly successful dermatologist now as an IMG, not in the US, but in the UK. In the UK, dermatology is very, very competitive, just like in the US. So he became a dermatologist in the UK, and Dr. Ian, he became a psychiatrist, and he became such a successful psychiatrist that he has worked at so many renowned places and with renowned psychiatrists. And he has been a senior editor with me in one of my books on dissociative identity disorder by Springer Publisher. So he has been so successful. He has published so many articles, and same with Dr. Bilal. Both of them, they have been extremely successful. They have published papers and they have edited books, and they keep moving forward and they don't stop. They remind me of myself, the way I am. They do not stop and they don't become complacent at one success. Become hungry. Be hungry for success, thirsty for success. Don't stop at one success. Whatever you have achieved now, think of how I can do more. Where can I go from there? How I can accomplish more. As I said, you become what you think about all day long.
Okay. And my last question to you will be, with all of the hats that you wear, you said the big umbrella is being a teacher. And beneath that, we have therapist, we have neuroscientist, public speaker, author. What do you want the legacy of your work to be? When people speak of Dr. Hassaan Tohid, what's the legacy that you are trying to bestow upon the world?
That's a very important question. So, what I want after 100 years, that my message is alive, people remember my message, and they know that, okay, this is a message from Hassaan Tohid, but they don't know what was his profession. They say he was a man in the history who changed so many lives. And when somebody research on me, they find out, oh, he was a medical graduate. Okay, so he was a doctor. So I want something like that, that my message becomes bigger and I'm bigger than life, that people don't even know my profession, my degree. People remember my message, and somebody accidentally finds out that, oh, he was also a doctor. Oh, he was a therapist. Oh, he was also a motivational speaker. So they just get benefited from my message and they accidentally find out who I was, what was my profession. So I would love this to have that in 100 years, somebody researches about me and finds out, oh, he graduated as a medical doctor from Pakistan. I have been hearing his messages, his videos, and his message has changed my life. But I didn't know he was a medical graduate, because what we give to others is more important than what we are. Remember that, guys. We are more successful if we help others. We make other people successful. That's what my mission is. That's what my goal is, that my message remains alive.
Thank you. And I think that's a perfect note on which to end. Thank you so much for speaking with us on the IMG Residency Match podcast. I feel like it was part interview, part motivational speech, part career strategy. There were so many strategy gems in terms of how people can go about advancing their career in different geographies. And I know that our listeners would have gotten a ton of value from this. Hey, friend, thank you for listening to the IMG Residency Match podcast. If you're ready to create a memorable application that gives you the best possible odds of matching into residency, connect with me at bit.ly/IMG match. That's all lowercase. And you can find me on Instagram, YouTube, and Facebook at Memorable Essay. Our handle is Memorable Essay. If you enjoyed this episode, be sure to follow, leave a review, and share it with another IMG who's on their match journey. Your support helps more ambitious IMGs to find our show. Until next time, keep focused and be memorable.